in my group, we work on a range of applications where new materials could play a role, and a range of applications in energy where new materials could play a role. And what's so exciting to me, being a material scientist working on energy, what's so exciting about that is that in energy applications, in fact, it is the material that dominates, it is the choice of material that dominates the cost and efficiency. And that's very unlike other industries. So when I ask my colleague at Intel how many steps there are in making, let's say, a Pentium processor, the answer is around 900. And when I ask how many of those there's a materials choice, it's a handful. So it's really a processing problem. Whereas in energy, in some cases, like in a thermoelectric, the material is just the dominant factor for the performance, efficiency, and cost of the device. And so in many cases in energy, whether it's thermoelectric, solar cells, solar fuels, hydrogen storage, really it's the development of completely new materials that's going to change the landscape. And that's why I don't sleep at night. That's why I'm so happy with and excited about what I do. And so we work on a range of different applications because there's so much impact we think we can make by designing new materials for these applications. And they can be different, but there are also cross connections in them. So for example, in the solar fuels work, we have to worry about light trapping because we want to maximize how quickly we can charge these materials. And that's also a concern in our solar photovoltaics work, which is also a concern, in the 3D PV work that we already talked about. And so there are commonalities, but there are also differences. In solar fuels, what we've done is we've looked at an old problem and come up with a new solution to it. And that is that there have been materials more than 40 years ago, explored heavily, that can absorb sunlight and use that energy from the sun to get sort of charged up. But they don't get hot necessarily. The materials change into an excited state. So it's like if you want to think about it chemically, it's like you're putting the sun's energy up on a chemical shelf. And then when you want that energy back, you can apply a very simple trigger to this material and it gets hot. It releases the energy as heat. So it's like a solar thermal battery, but it's a little different than a battery because it can be a liquid or a solid, and it can be used in many different ways that currently batteries cannot. And this is a very appealing concept because it's a material that could be continuously recharged by the sun and store that sun's energy, but in a way that can be transported, distributed, and used not where it's charged, but where you want. And then when you use it, you take it back out into the sun and you recharge it. So the problem with it, and the reason the technology was dropped a generation ago, is that no material could do this and cycle more than, say, 10, 20, 50 times. And if you can't keep recharging the material, doesn't make economic sense. So what we did is we applied our sort of framework of materials design to this problem, and we came up with a way of taking these kinds of molecules called photoswitches, which have been studied in many other fields and are well known to switch back and forth when you shine light on them, but they make terrible energy storage systems. We've come up with a way of combining those with other materials to make them into really good energy storage systems, which can cycle 10 to the 5th, 10 to the 6th times without degradation. So that's been a very exciting development, and again, that was initially designed entirely computationally using sophisticated quantum mechanical modeling, because we care about electrons here, so we need quantum mechanics. And now we have an experimental program that's actually making these and has been validating all of our predictions.